How do public relations practitioners know what the best way to lead or make decisions is? How do they decide on the best and most strategic way to cater to the demands of publics? The answer is very simple. In fact, there are only two words. It depends. You might be thinking, it depends? What kind of vague theory is this? Now, before you came at me, hear me out. Contingency theory argues that there is no one best way to lead or make decisions. Instead, choices are contingent or dependent on situational factors. This is why the theory is named contingency theory and hence the tagline, it depends. There are two principles that form the basis of contingency theory. The first principle is that many factors determine the stance of an organization when it comes to dealing with conflict and perceived threats. These factors may be internal, like organizational culture, or external, like the degree of support for the organization. And on top of them being internal or external, these factors can be further classified into situational or predisposing. Predisposing factors suggest that these factors exist even before interacting with the public. This means that they predisposes or guides the organization's reaction. Otherwise, they may be situational, which means they are situation specific. For example, how urgent is the situation? What is the public like at that point of time? Now, let's talk about the second principle. The second principle is that the public relations stance must be dynamic when dealing with particular public. This means that the stance must change as the events unfold. In fact, there is a continuum of stances ranging from pure advocacy to pure accommodation. Where the company stands on its continuum will depend on its circumstances and factors. So, what is this continuum? As we can see on the left of the continuum, we have pure advocacy. Pure advocacy is a very strong stance. It completely disagrees with or counters the arguments, claims, and threats a competitor or group has. For instance, in March 2021, a Muslim woman claimed that a sushi chain in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, named Sushi Gyro stole pork at its eatery. She wrote in a post that she had heard about the company's pork selling secret from an employee. Sushi Gyro is not certified halal in Malaysia, but its menu of mainly sushi and ramen does not include pork. In response, Sushi Gyro refuted accusations that it sold pork at its eatery. It labeled the rumor as fake information and resisted rumors that they are not pork-free. The woman later took down her post. On the other end of the continuum is pure accommodation. Pure accommodation is when the organization agrees with its critics and makes changes to its policies. It makes compensation and even issues a full public apology to its actions. An example can be BreadTalk soya bean milk saga. In 2015 in Singapore, the bakery chain came under fire for repackaging Yo's brand soya bean milk and labeling it as freshly prepared. This discovery was made by a netizen who called the discovery shocking. He had found the soya bean milk tastes very familiar, but could not figure out why until he saw the staff repackaging it in store. In response, BreadTalk admitted the soya bean milk was completely Yo's. Later, they issued a public apology on their Facebook page and said the chain has removed it from their stores. While they did not make any form of compensation, much to the anger of many who have been paying higher prices for the repackaged drink, this is a classic example of pure accommodation stance. Of course, there are other stances in between pure advocacy and pure accommodation. In fact, some organizations initially adopt a pure advocacy stance, but as the situation changes, they may move towards accommodation. This only shows how dynamic strategic conflict management is.